All right, we're getting ready to go. All right, I think we are rolling live now, like maybe 2 seconds early, but I'm so excited now. There we are, 9 o'clock. And welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52 for coaches, myself included, although I'm not myself today. This is the last Friday before Halloween here in America. Sue, welcome all the way from down under, Melbourne, Australia. And I don't know, Sue, if you know this legendary figure, absolute legendary figure in the American culture. Let me see if I could do this properly here. Let's go for a window. Yeah. Are you ready for this?
Go for it.
Yeah. His name is Chef Boyardee. And if you grew up like I did, parents were working a lot, home alone a lot. There was a lot of like spaghetti and meatballs out of a can in the house. A lot of ravioli, like open up the can, heat it up and eat it, and you're good, right? Get back to watching TV or whatever else was babysitting us, right? So Chef Boyardee is a legend in American culture. Do you know about Chef Boyardee all the way in Australia, Sue?
No, we don't have that.
I had this ready just for you, right? Anticipating your arrival. I wanted to make sure you knew that I wasn't just making this up. Like Chef Boyardee's a thing, okay? And so, of course, I'm not Jeff Klubeck today. I'm Jeff Boyardee. There you have it. So welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52 for coaches, myself included, although I'm not myself today, the last Friday before Halloween. We do these every Friday, and I'm not going to see you guys again until after Halloween is passed, so I'm in the spirit. I'm going to be heading out to
I love it.
a little fun costume-based little golf thing with a client of mine later on this afternoon, and Brody's excited about Monster Mash. So we're heading into the last weekend prior to American Halloween. And Jeff Boyardee is bringing it to you today. We're going to cook up tip number 43 overall out of 52 as a matter of review. I hope the Jeff Boyardee thing is landing. I hope that it comes through all the way to Australia.
It's really
Thank
good.
you. All right. So we started off with this book with 11 tips in self-promotion, right? When we become a coach, we got to get used to the identity of being a coach. We got to get familiar with being called Coach Jeffrey or whatever you're called. And got to get comfortable with that. And then we got to start telling the world, like with confidence, hey, I can coach. I'm capable of doing this. The caveat, though, and I'm setting up all the way in section 1 of the book to talk about what I want to talk about now that we're all the way in the 40s in our tips, is that we want to be careful saying, I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a coach. Hopefully, and this is the point that I was making in these 11 tips as we move through them, we graduate or we evolve to understanding that coaching is one of the things on my menu. What I am is a problem solver, and coaching is one way I can solve problems. So that's the seed plant all the way back in the first 11 tips that we're going to come back to today in tip number 43. But after we got done with these 11 tips, after we tell the world that we can coach or we're a coach or however we're saying it, now it's time to get coaching clients. So if we're inside of an organization, we want engagement, employee engagement, even if it's an association or a nonprofit. I spoke earlier this week in Washington, D.C. to the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. I was dressed differently when I spoke. I had a tie on, and but my point is that they're nonprofit. They're volunteering their time, their money, their resources to go and come together to represent the interests of hoteliers. And it was an honor to get them ready to legally storm the Capitol and go advocate on their own behalf, right? It was really cool. But the idea is in organizations, even when it's volunteers, you still need people engaged in what they're doing. How do we get people excited about what they're doing so they don't feel browbeat or coerced or manipulated into the actions that they want to take? How do we get them self-motivated to do the things that they need to do? So if I'm a coach, I want people to hire me as the coach. I want enrollment. I want people to enroll in my coaching programs. But if I'm a leader inside of an institution, I want engagement. It's a hot knife through warm butter if people are enrolled or engaged, right? Willfully being in the situation to be confronted and supported on the way to different results, different behavior, different results. So once they're engaged or enrolled, of course, then we moved on to 10 tips in the motivation section. And the formula for me is motivation plus accountability equals results. So we followed with 10 tips on accountability. And there's more that we can say about all of that, but I'm so eager to get into today's tip, which resides in the final 12 tips of the book overall. So Get a Clue in 52. These books, they always have 5 categories. It's always 52 tips. It's always sets me up to market myself out there in the world and be available for a free conversation once a week, to be consistent, to be visible, to be silly on a Friday. It's been a lot of fun. Just as a matter of review, we started with this first edition that I wrote in 2019. And then in 2020, every Sunday night, I would read a tip from this and stream it into my Facebook group for Get a Klu in 52. I found all kinds of mistakes in here. So we went ahead and cleaned it up and created this version. And then in 2021, I read tips again, but streamed into my YouTube channel. Watch Get a Klu, all one word. Then in collaboration with Vipul Dayal, we created the entrepreneur edition of Get a Klu in 52 with Vipul. And on Tuesday nights last year, we would get on at 8:00 and read it and, read it on Zoom and stream into my channel. And then we'd get on at 8:30 and read and stream into the Hotel Motel Owners Forum, 20,000 people in Facebook reading out of Vipul's version. Really exciting project. And so that brought me to this year where I thought, you know what, it's time to, this is the year where I've been advocating for the profession of coaching. I'm vice president of communication for the Professional Coaches Alliance. And I thought, since I'm doing that this year and I've committed to that position on the board, let me feed two birds with one grain and on a weekly basis promote this profession of coaching and share what I have to share. Now, in doing so, I realized that I've got a lot to learn. Oh my goodness, I set out to write this book for aspiring and emerging coaches because I'm the veteran and I've been doing this and I can teach people how to do on it. But wow, do I still have a lot to work on and learn myself. So we're getting into it. And let me go ahead and review the first couple of tips in this section. I'm getting ready to do a nose blow before I read word for word. But we started this section of practice building. The tip number 1, or 41 overall, was pay the fee of feasibility. And what we're talking about there is like, is it worth it? Is it feasible? Is it feasible to build a coaching business, to run a coaching practice? Is it coaching? The ability to coach is different than the ability to earn revenue and profits from coaching. The ability to coach is different than the ability to sell coaching, and then organize a whole business around it. And that's what we're all about in these set of tips. But if you decide through your diligence and through being clear about the life you want and how much money it'll take to get you that life and what you want to be doing with your time, talents, and energy on a day-to-day basis, is it worth it to do this then? Or are you pinning yourself into an 18-hour-a-day job? Or are you really, getting yourself the professional freedom you want with a coaching practice, right? The allure is there and the lifestyle is attainable, but you have to make sure that you really want it because it's not all glam. It's very difficult, as these tips are going to try to tell us. Now, if you get to the point where you're like, yeah, it's worth it. I want it. I can do it. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's more than just coaching. It's running a business and all of the accountabilities of running a business. I'm ready to do it. Let's go. Well, okay, then run it. We need somebody in the position that makes sure all of the aspects of a business operate. So last week, there we go. Here's Margot. Hey, Margot. All right.
Hey.
So last week, hey, Margot, how are you? By the way, since I'm jumping you in, I don't need to tell you about American culture the way I had to explain it to Sue, but Jeff Boyardee coming to you on the last Friday before Halloween. All right. And thank you for the laugh. And I just want to really quickly give you the visual icon because it's too good not to. I had this ready for Sue. I was so ready for Sue. I'm like, look, I'm not making this up. Chef Boyardee is a dude, right?
Oh, totally.
And if you grew up like I grew up with parents not really home a lot and, hey, open up the can, heat it up and eat it, then this guy is a legend in my life, right? So when I got, and shout out to the client, ChefWorks. This gear all comes from ChefWorks, major global corporation, and they outfit hospitality, culinary, keep your eyes open for the fork logo. Anyway, shameless plug. It's kind of white. I don't know if you can see it real good on what I've chosen to wear today. But yeah, and a special nod to Cynthia McCormick, Vice President of Human Resources for ChefWorks. What a wonderful lady to work with and what a wonderful leader. And there we go. So Jeff Boyardee coming to you. And we are in the middle of just reviewing the tips that we've covered so far in this section on practice building. We talked about the fee of feasibility. Is it worth it to do this? Great, you learned how to coach. You really want to build a business out of it? Now you're not just coaching anymore. We learned this in the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. It doesn't matter if you make the best pies in town and everybody says, oh, you should open a pie shop. Because as soon as you open a pie shop, you're not making pies anymore. You're dealing with vendors. You're dealing with... Anyway, this is what we're trying to do in these 12 tips, is get super real about what it really means to run a coaching business or build a coaching business. So first of all, is it worth it? And Jeff Boyardee will tell you that so far for Klu back, it's been worth it. All right, I've got like schizophrenia today. Anyway. All right. So then if it's worth it to move forward, then you got to run it. You got to make sure it runs and it operates. And even though I know that this is the tip, that doesn't mean that my business always operates that well. I don't even like calling my business a business. I call it a practice. And even though I call it a practice, there's things falling apart everywhere. So even though I know it's worth it and I've decided to run it and some things run, guess what? Some things don't. And that's the truth. Okay. Then we get to today, right? Tip number 43. And again, it's worth repeating that in the very first section of the book, way back in January, February, when we were covering these 11 tips in self-promotion, we went through this chronology of learning how to coach, being comfortable calling ourselves a coach, letting the world know that we're a coach, but then hang on, be careful about saying I'm a coach. We planted the seed back in these first 11 tips that you're more than a coach, that coaching is one way that you solve problems, and you're going to have a hard time building a coaching business, a coaching practice, if all you do is coach. Now, here we are at the end of the year in tip number 43, where I get to elaborate on that point, and I'm so excited. But before I go into the word for word, let me more formally, without all of the Jeff Boyardee jokes on the last Friday before American Halloween, say thank you, Sue and Margot, for being here. Is there anything that you would like to say or ask before I get into the word for word of it all? And you both know that I'm buying myself time to blow my nose. Go ahead.
Oh, I just love it. It's just a great way to go into the session with this visual.
Thank you. Thank you. Margot?
No, I'm good. I'm anxious to see the menu.
Eager. Here we go. And this is a robust tip. So I really, oh man, I'm going to go fast. There's no other way to do this. If you're following at home at page 172, here we go. The third accountability on Org Chart 101 is the first of 3 accountabilities that reside inside the operations department. And just so people can see, I've got a little stick figure org chart here at the beginning of all of these tips. And so what people will be interested in knowing that I'm referring to right here, these 3 accountabilities. This is the operations department that reports to a chief operating officer that reports to the shareholders, right? Is it worth running? That's the accountability for the shareholder. Run it is the accountability for the chief operating officer. And now we're going into the operations department to figure out the first of 3 accountabilities in operations. Here we go. The third accountability on Org Chart 101 is the first of 3 accountabilities that reside in the operations department. Number 7 is customer service, which will be elaborated on in its own tip later in this section. But it is also referred to importantly in this tip. Call it research and development. Call it product service development. Call it menu management or whatever you want to call it, as long as you understand that if the business doesn't have anything to sell, it's not a business. So we will call box number 3 on our chart R&D to understand that a business is constantly researching and developing new and or improved products and services. It can sound simple when I hear it asked. What are you selling? Coaching, right? Wrong. I believe that if coaching is the only thing on the menu and the only thing someone could buy from you is coaching, you may have an income-earning hobby, but not a business. Humor my elaborations below while I bottom line this tip up front. If coaching is all that is on your menu, you don't have a business. You have an income-earning skill set, not a business. And as soon as you put something other than coaching on your menu, you're limiting yourself if still calling your business a coaching business, and lying to yourself in both cases if your business cannot do what all businesses must do to survive: profit. Now for the humoring me part. First on some of the math of it all. How many hours? Oh boy, here we go. Are you guys ready? I got to like total deep breath here. How many hours in a work week for an entrepreneur starting their coaching business? 40, 70? Let's compromise and say 55. One of my mentors, Brian Tracy, taught me that we work 8 hours a day for survival and the rest for success. So 55, yeah? Okay. Now, how many of those 55 will ideally be, quote, in session, delivering coaching, which is accountability number 7, by the way, which we'll get to later in the book, which I already told you. How many coaching hours a day / week does a full-time coach spend coaching? If it is 40, that leaves 15 hours a week for everything else: marketing, sales, finance, and the other 2 accountabilities of operations. You do the rest of the scenario scrambling. 30 hours of coaching gives you 25 hours for everything else, and so on. You guys with me what I'm saying there? 40 hours of coaching gives you 15 hours for everything else. 30 hours of coaching gives you 25 hours. Here we go. You do the math. Okay. But the bottom line is that if you build up enough coaching clients to be coaching anywhere near full-time hours, so you can earn somewhere near full-time income. What kind of a business do you expect to grow when one person, the same one that just coached for 30 plus hours, has to do the full-time jobs of marketing, sales, and finance and the rest of operations in less than 30 hours? Even if you up-leveled from 55 hours a week to 80, how attractive does that sound, Margot? Even if you up-leveled from 55 hours a week to 80, you are still trying to earn a full-time living as a coach while doing 4 additional full-time jobs in under 50 hours a week. I don't know if that's right. Oh, and being fatigued, distracted, or just not good at some of it. If coaching is the only thing on your menu, by the time you sell enough of it to earn a respectable income as a coach, your calendar is now too full to build, run, grow the business with any effectiveness. Unless you have financing from a bank or investors, you will be paying out of the coach's fees you collect on your own, out of your own, you'll be paying out of the coach's fees you collect or your own pocket, other people to do the things in the business for you. So what do you need to charge for your coaching? That's a typo. What do you need to charge for your coaching to be able to pay yourself for doing the coaching and still have money left over to fund the rest of the labor your business needs? Not quote unquote your business needs, quote unquote, because you guys, I'm so hesitant to call it a business. And don't get me started on the non-labor expenses of utilities, subscriptions, memberships, continuing education, events. How much? Let me ask it another way. How much does your business pay? How much does your business pay your coaches? Or how much do you pay yourself when you do your coaching? Do you have coaches contracted or employed to do the coaching in your business, or do you do it all? So what is the compensation for whoever does the coaching in your business? $100 a session, $500 a session, more? I'm not asking how much you charge for coaching. I'm asking from what you charge, how much of it do you pay yourself or your coach for doing the coaching? And how much do you leave in the business for other expenses? How much do you pay your COO for running the business or owner shareholder in terms of dividends or profits? I think you get it, but I'm going to keep going. When you pay your coach for coaching, does the amount paid include compensation for other roles your coach performs in your coaching business? If the coach sells a coaching program, does the coach get a commission for the sale, as well as a session rate for doing the actual coaching? If you are the only coach in your business, and if coaching is the only thing on your menu, do you even pay yourself as a coach? Or does all the money stay in the business that you live out of until you get more coaching clients and get ahead? Do you understand the math of it all that allows me to urge you to stop calling it a coaching business, especially if coaching is the only thing you sell? Okay, I could go further in the math of it all, but what about semantics or linguistic terms? If a burger was all that was on the menu, the joint might be called a burger business. But I doubt it, because it would probably still be referred to as a fast food business that sells burgers, even if only burgers. And 2, what kind of a person thinks a burger business will stay in business if not also offering fries and sodas at minimum, or anything else peripherally related to burgers that makes sense to sell, like nuggets, wings, shakes, even stretching at times to research and develop a breakfast menu, etc. Nobody has a hot dog business, but lots of people have a hot dog stand, including the stands that also sell other stuff like pretzels and drinks. It's still called a stand, not a business. The twofold point, again, is that I believe you will never grow it to a business if coaching is all you sell. And as soon as you add other products and services to your menu, why would you continue to call your business a coaching business if you sell more than coaching? Me? I have a soft skills development business. I have a leadership development business. I actually don't have a business at all if I don't do what all businesses exist to do, profit. I'm going to read that again for a little more flow. I have a soft skills development business. I have a leadership development business. I actually don't have a business at all if I don't do what all businesses exist to do, and that's profit. That means profits in the business after all expenses and after I've paid myself as the coach to do the coaching, whatever else. You guys get it. Here we go. And if I don't pay myself for the coaching I do, and I don't pay a profit dividend to the owner shareholder, how can I call it a business? This accountability is to make sure the business has something to sell. Excellence at meeting this accountability demands that you have more than one thing to sell, that you sell all things at a profitable price after you pay expenses, including coach compensation. There is profit. That the cost of researching, developing, marketing, selling, delivering, and accounting for your products and services, plural, is less than the revenue you generate. Most coaches, I estimate more than 90% of the people who call themselves a coach do not pay themselves for the coaching they do, let alone turn a profit with dividends for the owner and shareholder. What real business would allow that, and for how long before folding? Better get more than just coaching on the menu if you want to grow this thing you are calling a coaching business. I called my business a coaching practice when coaching was the only thing on the menu. Now that I've added training, consulting, speaking, books, online courses, I still hesitate to call it a business because it doesn't employ people or regularly turn a profit after all the expenses. And cue the music. 10 more accountabilities on the chart, 10 more accountabilities. You nail one down, pass it around. If you are not yet convinced that researching and developing your way to a profitable coaching business is extremely difficult, the next tips reveal dozens more reasons why coaches struggle to build a coaching business. 3 down. Is it worth it? Does it run? What does it sell? And cue the music again. 9 more accountabilities on the chart. Woo! Get down. How's that? A little bit of passion there. Comments, questions. Give me a breather here. That was a lot.
Couple things I wrote down.
Yeah.
That I have an income generating skill set.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah,
And
that's okay. That's fun. I don't have a problem with that.
A leadership development practice.
Yeah, leadership development practice. My hesitation. Well, tell me more about why you like that before I elaborate.
Because the bulk of my conversations are around developing leadership skills with the folks that I work with, and as opposed to coaching, which just engenders so many different things in people's minds. I think it's more succinct and it's more focused.
Yeah. Like, it's interesting to me. Thank you, by the way, because words are important. Okay. And we have to market ourselves, right? And the curse of knowledge is when we become so familiar with what we know that we forget what it's like to know what we know. So we'll just kind of haphazardly say, well, I'm a coach. Stop it. Please. There's got to be a better way to describe this. That's more succinct, more focused, that alleviates you of the pressure and the self-talk of like, somewhere in our person, right? We know we're lying if we say I have a coaching business, if all we're selling is coaching and we're suffering from any of those problems that I've dealt with in my career, right? And that most coaches, I bet dollars to donuts, that most coaches don't like that. Oh, I charge $200 for coaching. All right. Well, of that 200, how much do you pay yourself? And how much profit? And right. So what we focus on, the thing that's interesting is this tip is born in the operations department. It's like product and service, research and development, get stuff on the menu, right? But we could feel the need to market ourselves as well. So we're going to talk about marketing accountabilities as a matter of fact, starting next week, right? And next week's tip, because here's the thing: once you've got something to sell, next thing, just as a preview, then you got to go let the world know that they can buy it. Okay. And if I say I'm a coach, that doesn't let my prospect, my target, know what they can really buy. Most people actually got their guard up. Either their guard up when it comes to coaching, like, oh, what's the coach going to find? I don't want to ready to be vulnerable yet. No, you're not going to emo analyze me, right? Or on the other end of the spectrum, oh, another life coach masquerading as a business consultant. I don't call myself a coach. If I do, I call myself a world-class coach, or I call myself a business coach, or a communication coach, or a soft skills coach. I get more specific and accurate so that when I'm marketing myself, I want people to visualize what's on my menu. Oh, hang on. We got Vaughn coming on board here. Awesome.
What's on my menu?
Yeah, Vuong, I could hear a little reverb in the background, but maybe not that you're jumped in. It's nice to meet you. Hey, we're in Get a Klu in 52, brought to you this week by Jeff Boy RD on the last Friday before Halloween. I want to make sure everybody's in on the joke. Vuong, perhaps you know that Chef Boy RD is an absolute legend and icon in American culture, especially if you grew up like I did. You saw this in your cabinets all the time because the parents weren't around to like sit down and make the family meal. No, my parents worked their butts off, and I'm super confident and super filled with love in my heart because of my parents. So don't get the wrong idea. But I had a lot of this stuff growing up as a kid. This dude is a legend in my life, and so it's very fun to be Jeff. People say to me, "What are you going to be for Halloween this year?" It's like, are you kidding? I'm done. This is what I'm for Halloween every year. All right. I got other accountabilities on my org chart to meet. I don't have time to come up with a new costume. This one works just fine. Anyway, we are talking about today, the five categories of Get a Klu in 52. They start as a matter of review with, hey, we have to self-promote. Then we have to get clients, then motivation, then accountability, and now practice building. Go ahead, Vaughn.
I watched the beginning already. I just figured
cool.
out. Finally, I figured out the link to get in. So
all right, very good. Well, here we are. We're at this part where do we have any comments, questions on today's tip, which wasn't 2 weeks ago when we said, hey, is the business worth running? 2, if so, run it. Where we're at now is what are we selling? What's on the menu? Can I get a menu, please? Can I see the menu? And on Margot's last comment, she liked the reframing of I'm a coach to I have a leadership development practice, or I have a soft skills training firm. Right? Like a firm would be a collection of independent contractors. Now I've got more fidelity. Now that I'm more upright when I'm communicating who I am. If I say I got a coaching business, my tail's going to be between my legs, and people that are astute nonverbal observers will know that there's something wrong. There's something off. There's something not totally infidelity or in integrity. If I say, yeah, I have a coaching business, I'd rather say I have a soft skill practice or a coaching practice or any of these other ways that we're describing it. But on the heels of Margot's comment, the best way to describe our business starts with knowing what's on the menu, what people can buy, and then it leads to calling these things whatever we need to call them so that they can imagine the menu. Right? A confused mind never buys. And we were talking about this continuum of people that don't understand coaching, right? On the one end, the people that are threatened by it, and on the other, the people that don't believe in it, right? So you got those two extremes to deal with, right? The people don't understand it, don't believe it, like, oh, what's coaching? What's that? Oh, everybody's a life coach now. That can't be valuable. Or, ooh, you know how to listen to my word choices to understand what my limiting beliefs are, and you'll confront me and hold up a mirror and challenge me to transform. I don't want that. So either of those two, right? Either of those two extremes puts us behind the 8 ball. If we say, oh yeah, I've got a coaching business, how can they visualize what they want to buy from us? Right? I would rather say I'm a leadership development consultant, and coaching is one of the things on my menu, and self-paced study soft skill courses are another thing on my menu. Customized instructor-led trainings are on my menu. I've got 4 self-published books on my menu if you only have $25 to spend. Want to see a menu? Right? And so now we're talking about getting a bit, and I still don't even call it a business. Right? So comments, questions. Sue, Vuong, anything about this tip that we're talking about today? Yeah, go ahead, Sue.
Yeah. Further to what Margot was talking about and what you were just saying, one thing I notice is if you refer to yourself as a coach, people then automatically seem to want to pigeonhole you. Oh, are you a life coach? Are you a business coach? Which, if you're trying to market your services, can pull you away from what you're truly about. And it's a really good reminder to me that my word choice is really significant.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, it always is. Right. We always word and commitment is one of the 10 points on the 10-point integrity game model. Shameless plug, available on Amazon. Integrity game. It's very important, not only the power of words, but then how, just how they vibrate in and of themselves. But then our choice is always linked to a belief, which is always, and it's always observable if people are paying attention. And I don't I don't say to people that I listen carefully to your word choices and your diction to get access to the limiting beliefs, which I can then replace with empowering alternatives and condition to a point of transformation. I don't say that. I do that, but I don't say that I do that. I say, hey, listen, how about we do a checkup from a neck up and get you out of your own way? How would that work? So we want to avoid the curse of knowledge. We want to speak in a language that's going to resonate and land with the target market. So at some point, once we know what we're selling, we got to go let the world know that they can buy it. And the words around all of that are critical. But it starts with researching and developing what we're going to sell. And then how do we communicate that it's available to the world? They're two different things, but obviously integrated. We play the integrity game in all ways. But yeah, that's awesome, Sue. And it's fun. It's fun. You know, like, Sue, ask me, what kind of a coach are you? Ask me, what kind of a coach are you?
Yeah, what kind of a coach are you?
Oh, I'm a checkup from the neck up coach. Need one? I'm like, have fun with it. Like, what? No, just kidding. Most people that ask me what kind of a coach I am are hoping that I give them the answer that would get them to say, oh, I don't need that. So the reality is I'm going to answer you in a weird way to grab your attention and figure out what problem do you need solved. And I'll tell you if I can do that. Can we talk about the problem you want solved instead of what kind of a coach I am? Vaughn.
Yeah, I like how the menu we offer, because then you have 3 types of buyer, I guess, you know. So let's say you had a package, it's silver, gold, and platinum. You don't know, because some people are like, no, I want this, and some people, I'm not in that stage in my life, or I'm not in financial season, so they'll take the lower package. You know what I mean? So it's kind of good to offer more than one skill set.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: it's first of all, you want more than one thing on the menu. That's what the whole tip is about today, right? You want more. I'm making all of these fun arguments about, like, if coaching is the only thing on your menu, anyway. But careful about too many things on the menu. I've been to the restaurant before where they hand me the menu and it's like War and Peace. It's got all these pages and sections and times of day, and it's dense, and it's like, and I look at, what do you recommend? Right? Like, and so I end up just letting the server choose, you know, and I don't want to read the menu, but that's me, and that's my behavioral style, etc. So a confused mind doesn't buy either way, whether we're too vague, not specific enough, right, Margot? Right? Or too much, right? Even marketing ourselves internally. The director of the School of Communication, shout out to Dr. Heather Canary. Jeff says hello, by the way, through Jeff Boyardee here. But we get these emails on a semester basis. Like, now I'm back at San Diego State, and it's like, hey, coming up for fall of 24, what classes do you want to teach? How many classes do you want to teach? Which classes are you feel qualified to teach? Why are you qualified to teach? Right? I got to market myself. I got to make a list. I developed a menu, right? Here are all the classes that I think I could teach. Here's why I think I could teach them. And I got to find the right words and the right data, the right evidence. I don't know if I did, but here's what I asked. I said, hey, Dr. Canary, first time I was writing her one of these emails, I don't know if what I'm giving is too much or not enough. But I know what I think I can teach and why I think I can teach it. But there's a little bit of nervousness there. Like, just because I think I could teach it doesn't mean she does, right? I just know I love being at San Diego State, and I got a lot to give, and it's a little bit different. And I'm coming with a different voice and some different experiences. And hopefully that's, you know, value in our institution. I think it is. San Diego State's the greatest place on the planet as far as I'm concerned. So, but still, right, a confused mind doesn't buy. So I was making sure, not selling a product, but I was selling myself into the possibility that I could be a go-to person in the department and teach a bunch of different classes, so that anytime any professor couldn't cover their course or whatever, if there's a sabbatical or if there's a research project or if there was an illness or if there was a skiing trip, whatever, right? Then they can call me and I got it. I'm a quick study. I can handle it. And here's why. Now, it may not be the same experience that the full-blown tenure-track PhD delivered, but boy, are my students going to find somebody who cares a lot, and let's see if we can do that, right? So I'm marketing myself, but I know that if I don't give her enough information, then Jeff's not qualified to teach this if I don't make the effort to get. And if I give too much information, I don't want her to open up the email and go like, I don't have time to read this. I'm so busy. So you got to find that sweet spot, and it takes care. It takes getting me out of my own way and imagining what it's like to be Dr. Canary. And if I'm Dr. Canary, right, what kind of an email do I want from Jeff? And I have to divorce myself from myself for a minute. And that's what we need to do. And we're going to start talking about that next week when we start to get into the accountabilities of marketing, where we have to know who we're marketing to. And we have to research the conditions, the C's, the climate, the customers, and the competition. Right? We have to know. And then because we know the market that we're marketing into, then we can get better messages, which we'll talk about in 2 weeks from now, is getting messaging out into the marketplace. So we start in operations by figuring out what's on our menu and what do we have to offer. And then we have to find the right ways to communicate that. Right. And it's not just based on what we've developed. It's also based on the marketplace. Who are we marketing to? What are the market conditions? And who else is marketing to them so that our messaging gets through? So those are the accountabilities that we're headed into in the next couple of weeks. And here we are, 9:34 in the morning on the West Coast. We're in Get a Klu in 52, tip number 43 overall, number 3 in the practice building section. And I'm joined by Sue from Melbourne, Australia. Margot, you in Central California right now? Is that correct?
I am. I'm on the coast.
And Vaughn, you're in Southern California somewhere?
LA.
LA. I grew up in LA, and let me tell you, it's a nice place to be from.
Oh, yeah, I know. Traffic. Two things in California: taxes and traffic.
Yeah. Well, it's a San Diego joke. We're kind of spoiled down here, but we try not to be arrogant. It slips out every now and then. Let's talk about the weather. No, I'm joking. Last call. Comments, questions, jokes, riddles, haikus, anything that we've got as we sprint to the finish line. I could stay on another, half hour if there's more to talk about here, but I'm really excited to get this tip out. It was a big one. And it's like fulcrum. It's like epicenter to help us with all of these arguments that I'm making in the section. And it's really starting to string the pearls for really what I personally think is valuable. And if there's any brilliance in this book, we're really starting to unearth it and string all of the pearls. Last call. Comments, questions, jokes, riddles, haikus, limericks, anything as we close out.
Thank you.
Margot, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Vong, it's great to see you. Sue, you got anything before we wrap up?
I was just going to say it's a confronting tip, but it's worth taking the time to think about, what is on the menu and doing the R&D.
Yeah, I think I want to say, yes, thank you for that. What I want to say is, well, first of all, how confronting is it when it's brought to you by Jeff Boyardee? How confronting is it when it's done on a silly Friday? How confronting is it when it's delivered with so much joviality and so much vulnerability? How confronting is it when it's streamed for all the world to see? Right? So, a con we associate with a negative, but a pro we associate with the positive. And I would ask that this be a pro-fronting tip.
Yeah.
That this is a positive, jovial, loving, vulnerable mirror that I'm holding up. And, the integrity game that I referred to and what, I believe firmly I'm on the planet to do my best. I'm not perfect. I fail often. But I really believe in making accountability non-threatening. Would you talk with me about your menu if I was wearing a costume? Would it make it easier?
It'd make it fun. Yeah.
Fun. I want to make it easy and fun to look within. I don't want to judge anybody, but I do want people to tell the truth. I do want people to succeed. I do want people to let themselves off of the unnecessary hooks that they put themselves on. Margot, is that a hug right through the?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Sue. Anything else as we close out? Get a Klu in 52. We're making accountability non-threatening, one tip at a time. And Jeff Boyardee is having a lot of fun on a Friday. That is for sure. Anything else before we close out for today from anyone? Questions, comments, jokes, expressions of gratitude? Did I talk about limericks and riddles and haikus? And
I just want to
really
say hi to both of you.
Yeah, if anybody needs anything by way of T-shirts and printing and T-shirts, whether it's getting T-shirts or learning how to build a T-shirt business, Vong is your guy. Vong, I want to talk with you about maybe doing a line of Klubi snack T-shirts. So will you make it a point to reach out to me and see what's possible there? I think I've got a lot of good content to put on T-shirts. Maybe there's something for us we can do together.
Okay, that sounds fine.
All right.
Yeah, custom shirts and whatnot. Take care of it.
Awesome. All right, Vong's the man. Margot, always a pleasure to be with you. And Sue, there's no words for how lucky I am that you're keeping us international every week. Thank you so much from all the way down under. It's great to bring you into Southern California once a week on Fridays and all the other great work that we do. I'm looking forward to our collaboration on Get a Klu in 52 preview. It's coming on, be ready first week of January. We got to hustle, but it'll be ready. Get a Klu in 52 for speakers. That's what Sue and I are working on. So get ready for that. That's right, Margot. You got it. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and sign off for today. Everybody be safe on Halloween, especially with what's going on in the world and crazy. You don't want any crazies out there using Halloween as an excuse to be. So it's okay if you don't get the candy this year. You just keep it safe, keep it chill, like be safe, everybody, please, and constantly love yourselves and love each other. All right, we'll see everybody next week for the next installment of Get a Clue in 52. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.